Fintechs with API programs realize value when data flows through those APIs. But many of us don't understand, why does it take so long to get that data flowing? It's not because developers are lazy, it's because there is so much code they have to write themselves. But what if developers didn't have to write all that code? I'm Sid Maestri, VP Developer Relations with APIMatic, where we're helping companies with their API programs to drive revenue through giving developers the code that they need in the form of SDKs, code samples, guides, and now AI assistance. Our SDKs are battle tested and have been downloaded over 5 million times. This is Maxio. They are a billing subscription platform for B2B SaaS companies. You might know them by their former name, Chargeify, and they're a customer of APIMatic. So today I'm going to demo our portal software and SDKs using using Maxio's developer portal. As you can see, it's got the things that you would expect from a developer experience, like a getting started guide, some information about authentication, and of course, they've documented all the different API endpoints that a developer needs in order to integrate. Now, if I'm a developer and I'm coming in here and I want to learn about how to create a customer, I can come in here, I get the popular 3-column layout. You've seen Stripe and every other company that's come along follows this model, and developers are very familiar with it. They come in, they go and they can expand, they can see what properties are available, and they also get this curl command on the right side, which they can use to make that first API call. They can also try it out right from the documentation, so similar to having Postman built into your docs. But here's where the problem is. If this is all you're giving developers, then you're leaving them to translate all of this API reference documentation into the code of the language that they want to code in. This is where APIMatic really shines. We're helping fintechs with their API programs by giving them SDKs in 7 of the most popular programming languages. So if I'm a .NET developer and I click that link, the entire portal pivots around that language. If I click Get SDK, I'm instructed how to go about downloading that SDK into my project. I also get this code sample here on the right, which is now idiomatic.NET code. It explains how do I create a customer. But if I copied and pasted this into my code editor, it wouldn't run because there's some information missing. And this is really a problem for some developer portals. But we solve this by giving developers the option to show the complete code. It's a little more verbose, but it gives me everything I need. It gives me my import statements, my initialization code, as well as the code I need to create a brand new customer. But developers want more than just how do I use a single endpoint. They have business objectives. And that's why we've introduced the ability to create guided walkthroughs. So a developer wants to know, how do I manage products within Maxio? Well, I can come in here and I can get a guided walkthrough where I click Next, and it tells me how to create a product family. I can run that code in the browser. I can copy and paste it into my code editor. Next, I might want to create a product. And next after that, I might want to create a metered component. We walk the developer step by step through to achieve their business objectives. Now, you might be wondering, how difficult is it to generate one of these portals? Well, if your team has an OpenAPI file, also known as Swagger, or even a Postman collection, you simply come to APIMatic. I'm going to import an example API. It's a very simple one. It's for a calculator. And I import it into my workspace and then click Generate. We validate that it's a valid API definition, and then we're giving the choice. I can generate a single SDK, or I can generate a full portal. So I'm going to choose the full portal experience, and it generates not just the documentation and all those code samples, but it also generates SDKs. So I can come in and I can see the same .NET idiomatic code, but for this calculator endpoint. And there's a lot more you can do to customize it. But our newest innovation at APIMatic is AI assistance, because we know developers are really excited about AI, but there's problems with hallucination and inconsistent code when they go to an AI. We've developed API Copilot, and for Maxio, we've let them define 4 prompts that they think a developer might be interested in asking, like, tell me about the authentication of this API. So the AI is thinking right now, and it tells me that it uses basic authentication. But that's pretty simple. What about the code? I'm going to ask it a question. How do I create an invoice and make a payment on that invoice? All right. So what's unique about this API Copilot is that we are actually training the AI on the code that we've generated. So you know that the developer is going to be given code that is accurate and it's going to be returned consistently. Less chance for it to hallucinate and start making up API endpoints that don't exist, which we've seen happen in the past. And instead, it's going to actually give me code that's synthesized from the code samples that I've generated with APIMatic. So if I scroll up to the top, you can see it has all the import statements for my SDK, my authorization code, tells me how to create an invoice, and then it tells me how to apply a payment against that invoice. And that's all I need to do this. And if I asked it a question like, when was the San Francisco earthquake? Because it's trained on just our generated code, it's going to respond and say, I'm sorry, I only answer questions about Maxio's billing API. This is our way to reduce those hallucinations and give accurate code. Come by our booth and come learn about how SDKs can help you drive more revenue and help developers integrate faster.